Welcome back to The Evil Within. We're here playing The Evil Within 2. We are still, even though this is the 15th episode, in Chapter 3. It's an open world game where we've chosen to explore and do a lot of side quests. At this point in the gameplay, we were beginning to wonder if this map that I'm just showing you right there, as Sebastian brought it up on his communicator, if this wasn't the entire game map, and that all those little buildings would eventually open up as the game progressed. We just weren't sure, because, I mean, we've spent, at this point, if this is episode 15, then we've spent, this is going to end about 7.5 hours. Probably a little more than that, because the videos are cut for time. I mean, dead-end paths where we died, we don't always show those paths down the dead end. That wouldn't be of no interest. You just go down it and then have to go down it again. So, of course, if anything important happens in that, I either put in as a cutscene or I take you down the path until what was important happens, especially if it's an achievement. I'll take you down all those paths. But suffice it to say that a lot of content has actually been cut. You're not seeing every moment of our play. So if you're watching this as your 15th episode, you know we're about 7.5 hours into recorded video that we've posted. So you know that I was really honestly beginning to think this was the entire map. Now, that was the mystery solved for getting into the basement of the visitor center. Notice that we're tracking that large green signal. That's the last of the, well, not the last. There's another green signal still on the map. A little tiny one up in the auto body shop. But this is where the main quest, this is the last section for the main side quest, Liam's side quest of trying to find some backup for him. Now you notice on the door as we were coming in, there was a name, a golden name plaque, or well, bronze, I guess, probably a bronze plaque with a person's name etched on the side of it. It was Ryan Turner. I remember the last time we went down into a basement and we encountered a silver lady, and so I'm still being hesitant anytime we go downstairs. But last episode was a kind of triumphant episode.
I recognize this work.
Some weapons other than a handgun. We have a shotgun, a sniper rifle, and the crossbow. For a long time we only had the handgun and crossbow. Let this scene play out for you and then we'll come back.
Look, man, just let me go. I can take you somewhere safe. We've got supplies. Stick with me. I can get you out of here.
Safe? What's interesting about safe? Why would I want to leave here? This place is a work in progress, but soon it will be perfect. All it requires is my inspiration and your blood.
What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Don't move.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Help! Somebody help me!
I said don't move. Now, let's make some hearts.
Tough luck, Ryan.
Well, yeah, as you can see by the counter, the game provides that heads-up counter there, that
more like an execution.
heads-up display counter. That was our 8th residual memory. Another one of the Mobius operatives killed by a person that's... The reason it was not telling you the name, the question marks are showing up when he was talking. Sebastian doesn't know his name yet. We know he's Stefano. I don't think there's anything given away by knowing that name. It's not like the name Stefano. It's not like knowing his name gives you some power over him or something. But he's still unidentified as far as Sebastian's considered.
Must be Ryan's. Huh. Mobius team members. They might have something useful on them.
Turner's communicator log. The most recent log recorded by the communicator. Turner, I rigged my communicator to pick up Unity chip signals. I managed to find locations for the rest of the security team. What's left of them anyway. They'll have supplies, and it's not like they need them anymore. All of these chips are broadcasting from dead brains.
Now you'll remember that Ryan and his compatriots were conspiring basically to shuffle everybody into the visitor center and was going to kill them there before they turned, because they're a lot easier to kill before they turn. So can't say that we're going to be missing Ryan. Surprise!
Damn it. Where did he go?
Got our picture taken again. That's the second time that we've opened a door and found Stefano. Not Sebastian. Sebastian's us. Found Stefano on the other side taking our picture. And you'll notice that this looks like the art gallery from the beginning of the game. Chapter 1, Chapter 1 or Chapter 2? Maybe it might have been Chapter 2, where we traveled through Stefano's warped little mind. So he's taking our picture again, and here we are in his subconscious. So I was saying that in the last episode, we were kind of finally triumphant in the sense that we went back to the Marrow and defeated the Silver Lady there, got a shotgun from that. We also got by the Lament that was guarding the parts for the sniper rifle, and then used the sniper rifle to kill him. So we're much better armed now. We've progressed the main storyline a little bit. We found Lily's ghost up in the pit stop gas station at the top of the hill, and we've followed her ghost down now a couple of times, but it hasn't progressed all the way through. Progressing that all the way through to the end is what will change the chapter. Now, it's worth pointing out that we spent a long time talking about this. Must be about our 7.5 hours worth of video for the first. I mean, the first video covered chapters 1 and 2. So we've been here for at least 7 hours, at least 6 hours in chapter 3, and you're thinking, really, that's going to make this an awfully long game. But had we gone up there and pushed Lily's ghost down farther into Union, you could even push her ghost all the way to what would be the end of chapter 3 and not have done any of this, or you can sprinkle pieces and parts of this all through chapter 3 and chapter 4 and chapter 5 and chapter 6. So while it seems like we haven't progressed a whole lot, really the content that we've covered could have been spread out over multiple chapters, a lot of chapters, in fact. But that was our open world approach. We complete each area of the open world as we go, rather than a specific storyline. So the play hasn't been dull by any sense. We've been accomplishing something every episode. And some of the episodes are a little bit less accomplishment oriented as far as gameplay goes, but as far as excitement goes, certainly some of them are more building and investigating and just wandering the world. But even the wandering the worlds are kind of exciting. So there's been a lot to see. I think in the last set of videos I had said that I promise you we'll get to the end of chapter 3 this week, but since we moved to the 3 episodes per week, we don't get there quite until I believe we will get there this week, though. Let me lie to you again. No, I'm not trying to lie. So this week's set of episodes, 15, 16, and 17. At the very end of episode 17, we finally get to chapter 4. So stick with us. There's still some more good stuff between here and there. Look at our shotgun. And that's the sawed-off shotgun, the small, short-barreled shotgun. It has a short range. In other words, the pellets will scatter out quickly. So to do any real damage, you need to be close to your target. If you try to shoot across the room or down that hallway, for instance, it won't even hit them. So, but when they're close up, it's brutal. At least for these early monsters, it's brutal. You can see we're still struggling with the controls a little bit. Not really able to use the run to cover mechanisms the way a smooth practiced pro would, and we sometimes still get stuck on the cover, like we'll get stuck against the desk and have a hard time getting off it. You also see them. I'm struggling with my 8-bit Do Pro 3 controller. It has much shorter joysticks than I was used to on the Logitech F7 wireless controller. And the shorter joysticks mean that when I try to turn real quick, when I try to turn the camera real quick, I often wind up pressing down on the button. The configuration we have means that when I press down, that Arsenal submenu comes up, that little wheel.
That was weird. Even for this place. O'Neill's safe house is right there. Might as well give him the bad news about his entourage face to face.
Now, it got a little fuzzy to me when we were first playing, but the Mobius operatives that we've been finding, Ryan Turner and the rest of them, those are not part... We've only found some of Liam's actual entourage, if you will, his actual team that he came in with. But Ryan was not part of that team. He was part of a security force that was already in Union. And they were tasked with keeping Liam and his team alive and healthy. But it wasn't Liam's team that had turned and was going to kill all the civilians. It was the security team.
Did you find them?
They're dead. But after what I saw, you're better off without them around. They were planning on killing everybody in here.
An Alpha 1 emergency, huh? Can't say it's the worst idea I've heard.
You're a real piece of work, O'Neill. You know that?
I'm just being a realist. You can't save everybody. It's impossible. Mobius made emergency plans for a reason.
If they never made this twisted machine, they wouldn't need emergency plans in the first place.
Maybe so. But look at what they've done. It's pretty incredible.
Still a company man after all this, huh? Hope your loyalty pays off for you in the end. Because right now, it seems like they don't give a shit about you.
What do you mean? They sent you in here, didn't they? Sorry, I didn't mean to make you angry. Here. I made some more of these for you. For your troubles.
And the backup ain't coming. So that's the achievement. It's a missable achievement in the sense that you don't have to have done the rogue signal side mission. So you could, it's game progress, but it's game progress that wasn't necessary to complete the game anyway. Necessary for anybody like Brian and Jackie who want to play the entire game, experience it to its fullest. Decide not to actually make anything. Oftentimes like that, I'll show that the menu comes up. That could have been minutes worth of gameplay of us scrolling through saying, okay, well, what can we upgrade? What can we build? Do we want to use any of these parts now? Do we want, et cetera, et cetera. But I short circuit most of that for you, unless there's some reason to show you the exploration of the menus. Now my notes say that this save was the end of our play session number 7. Our play sessions usually at night run anywhere from an hour to a really long one would be 3 hours. It's usually between an hour and 2 hours. So that gives you an idea that we had played for 14 hours. somewhere between 7 and 14 hours. Since we've posted, this would be our 7.5 hours worth of video. You can bet that it was probably closer to that 14 than it was to the 7. All right, so we've looked at our map. We've got another location. We're thinking about that auto body shop, and it's saying, remember we stood over the signal and you could tell that it was underneath the ground. It gave us a little arrow and we could tell that we were staying right on top of it. And so we still haven't figured out how we would get underneath the auto body shop. Last episode, we went back to the Marrow thinking, well, that's one way down. That's the only way we know down. Now we're thinking, okay, we were just here, but, one reason for telling you that was a break between play session number 7 and play session number 8 is that, we've slept since then. So it's not that we're confused. It's just that we know that we just came from here, but we thought maybe we missed something. Maybe there's another passageway. Maybe there was a computer that we didn't click on that would allow us to get to the part of the underground that's underneath the auto body shop. if you remember back to, I don't remember what episode it was in, but we saw a residual memory inside the auto body shop, and both Jackie and I we didn't miss it, but we didn't highlight that it started with the dude talking as he was doing something with the junction box. The junction box is an interesting little set piece that you have to be close enough to it and looking at it. Now, see, I'm looking at those computers going, did those get me into the Marrow? No. Okay. But the junction box in the auto body shop, and there are other junction boxes that are going to come up. But they look like just a box on the wall. And there are a lot of places. I mean, there's boxes on the walls right there. None of those are clickable. None of those are usable. And the junction box, if you're not close enough to it and looking straight at it, you won't see that it's usable. And so for whatever reason, we completely missed that you could open that junction box. And so the reason for our trip back down into the visitor center was to say maybe there's still some pass that would get us down underground. Now at this point, we're going to actually go over and we're going to activate the Lily Ghost again, move the cursor forward. But before we do, we're saying, okay, well, we just went into the visitor center and that door was just open. Remember, that was a surprise to us because we've been in the visitor center before and we kept looking for a way down underground there too. And then there was just a door that was open. Well, then we know that there's a couple of things in here that could just open for us just magically like the one did in the visitor center. So we think before we go talk to Lily again or move her ghost forward, let's see what's going on here. And we know that this board looks like the most likely way that we're going to get to that other half of the warehouse. The gate is still locked, though I guess I should go over there and actually test that. But it didn't swing open the way the door did in the visitor center. But this again was just a not fully understanding how the game was going to progress, and the magic of doors just swinging open. Again, at this point, we're thinking this is the entire game map. The entire game is going to be spent on this map, and we're very thankful that we have cleared it of all foes. We can wander around at free will, not run into zombies or worse. But we figure all these buildings are going to eventually open. But maybe they only open when you progress the main storyline, so let's go progress the main storyline one more time.
Oh, thank God.
Remember last time he had found a blood smear, and so he was worried that she was really hurt, but now he's seen that she was probably
like
okay at this point.
Hide.
I mean, if she was hurt, it must not have been her blood. I mean, there was enough blood that a child that size would not have lost that much blood and be okay. And look, see, our theory is paying out. We're saying, look, you progress this little task forward, and ta-da, this is going to open the warehouse for us. So this, I don't know how much of the video time we've spent going around this warehouse trying to figure out a way to get into the warehouse, and now the new theory of this is the entire map, and it will open up rooms, it will open up buildings as the storyline progresses. I'm feeling very confident in that at this point.
Lily? Lily!
And you'll see our assumption was absolutely right.
Lily
Go right through the wood,
upstairs.
and now all of a sudden, he can pull it off. Like, dude.
She probably crawled through here.
I really sort of
Gotta get
dislike
through.
that in games. I mean, I know why they do it, right? Because if you've done that,
She's a
if
brave
you've
and
done that
resourceful
before
little
the
girl.
story is ready for you
She's
to be
gonna
here,
okay.
then everything isn't set up.
I just gotta find
But
her.
at the same time, if it's open world, it should be open world. I should be able to, if I see, and now you can see why we couldn't get through the gate. It was chained closed. But if it's open world, I should be able to go anywhere. I mean, what difference would it have made if I'd opened that wooden board, if I'd have pulled that wooden board off before. I can hear the zombie, so I'm ducking. I don't know where the zombie's coming from. But what difference would it have made if I'd already been over here and cleared the area? They could still have another zombie wander in here if this zombie is that important. All this could still be happening even if I had already had access to this. There's nothing about my having access to this that prevents anything that we've seen so far. Now maybe you could say there's loot in here that we could have picked up and we'd had access to earlier. So what? So if I use that loot that's intended to kill the things that I'm going to encounter here, and I've already wasted it by the time I do actually encounter them, that was my own mistake. Let me live that. If I haven't used it up and I have it in my pouches, great. So, you know, as you start to find a new open area and you start to find loot in it, that there's probably something you're going to have to use that ammunition on. How he doesn't see me there, I don't know. But remember, we learned in the last episode down in the Marrow that they don't duck and crawl under things. So if you can get in a cubby like that, you're safe. He apparently never even saw me. But now I'm good enough with 3D spaces that I know that I have already looked into that space. So this is what I call the easy way. I don't know how hard it is to kill one zombie. Could have just faced him face to face, but you've seen that can go bad. That can go badly. But look, I have a viewport straight into him. At least they did this part right. I mean, I can actually shoot through that hole. If they wouldn't let my handgun bullets go through that hole, that would have been very disappointing. And I still wasn't sure I wanted to bet that he couldn't crawl into that one space, but so I thought maybe he's gonna come. No? That's me not realizing that quick turn is on, and if you push the B button in the exact opposite direction that Sebastian is facing, he'll quick turn. But it turns so quickly that I just find it disorienting. I think later on I figured out that that's on and turned it off. Probably not through this entire playthrough, but I know later on in classic mode, I went ahead and turned it off. Now he's still standing in that same place. I'm thinking, it hurt him, didn't I? You can see he's dropped his axe now, at least. Trying to say, well, can I climb up on any of this? Can I get a height advantage? No, I can't break any of it. Okay. Thinking, how much handgun ammo do I really want to waste on one zombie? And this time he sees this and he comes right to the thing. And he'll just run across it. No, that was a bad shot. That was dumb. Probably an accidental pull. That looked more purposeful. So that was the easy way and the even easier way. There. Don't know how much effort one zombie was really worth, but use the environment when it's there. Why take the risk if you don't have to? Finally, something that leads up onto those catwalks. Now remember, there was a staircase that we already passed that was by that gate that we could have gone up to the catwalks there too. You'll see when we get to the top of this and we look around that those two catwalks are not exactly completely connected, but thing in the trash barrels? Nope. But there are two rooms here. That first room, looking through that window, it has a workbench. So that's exciting. And then a document.
Report 00654, core displacement. Regarding infrastructure report. 1501, seismic trigger event this afternoon. System checkup revealed disengagement of core. Sent recovery team for preliminary scout. Report filed to Mobius HQ shortly before outside contact lost. 1632, core tracking unsuccessful. Minor temporal displacement, but no major structural damage. Citizenry beginning to make call center inquiries. 1803, core still offline. Minor fissures forming in City Hall area. Citizenry remaining calm, but unease is growing. Losing atmospheric control. Temperature drops in double digits. 2300, another seismic trigger. City Hall fissure becoming critical. Separation imminent if core isn't restored. Mobius Alpha Team has arrived to aid in core search.
Now, we don't really get dates on any of that, so we can't say how far apart they were, but that was, that was a report that was in the 600s, mid 600s. Might give you a feel for how long Union has been in place, maybe. I know we'll see some that are earlier and we'll see some that are later. We talked in the previous episodes that the first game had a fairly significant time dilation. 37 minutes was equal to about 2 days. 37 minutes on the outside of STEM versus 2 days inside of STEM. I get the feeling that this one may not be as dilated, that maybe somehow they've closed that gap at least a little bit. I mean, because if you took that case and they told us that the Mobius operators have been gone for the rescue team had been inside STEM for a week when Sebastian came in. Now, even though we've spent about 14 hours of gameplay, Sebastian's probably gone through, what would you say, maybe close to that, maybe 12 to 15 hours worth of his life. If he was wearing a watch inside here, maybe. Seems to be going pretty close to 1 for 1, maybe. But if they had been in here a week and you took that 37 minutes equals 2 days, so an hour equals 4 days, so 24 hours in a day would be... Yeah, they would have been in here a very long time, put it that way.
Another doll. But where's Lily?
Now notice this doll is different from the doll that we found in the gas station. This is a mommy doll, not a Lily doll. I mean, it's supposed to represent Myra. And it's got blonde hair, pulled up in a bun, and even the pearl earrings that she wears. This is where we find out who's chasing Lily.
Him. The murderer with the camera. And the son of a bitch has my little girl. I was so close. Damn it! Calm down. Think. I gotta save her. No more signals coming into this communicator. I need to find another way. O'Neill. Not sure I can trust him, but he wants out of here as bad as I want to find Lily.
Now the achievement there is that one you can't
O'Neill,
miss. I mean,
Sebastian,
if you finished the game, you
can you
had to
hear
have
me?
gotten taken.
Is that you? You're breaking up.
Shit. Not now. Maybe it'll work better outside.
Ammo just laying around says there's going to be something to use ammo on. Later on in one of the episodes, Sebastian will find a key and he'll go, where there's a key, there must be a lock. Well, same thing holds true. Where there's ammo, there's an ammo sheath. There's something to put the ammo in. So, find boxes of it just laying around that you can't even pick all of it up. There's a good chance you're going to need some. There's a workbench there too if you want to create some. Now you can create ammo and do that type of crafting in the field. You can't upgrade weapons, but you can do the crafting part in the field without a workbench. But ammunition costs 2x the gunpowder. We do have 360 parts, so let's upgrade the shotgun some. Let's make it hold a few more rounds before we have to reload it. It's so slow to rewind. We're going to use another one of our high performance parts. Make it a level 2 weapon as well now. And upgrade its capacity even more. The shotgun is so slow to reload. Now you can change the reload time, but reloading is always going to be slower than just banging through a larger clip, right? So the other thing that did is now that we can store more ammunition in the gun, we can pick up more ammunition to put in the pouch, so we can carry more of this with us. See, it wasn't quite enough to get all of it, so. But now you can see that the two parts of the catwalk are not connected there. If we'd have gone up the stairs before, and which we could have come before we even killed that zombie, we could have come up those stairs, come around. If you go over there and get close to that, there'll be a little investigate icon, and when you look at it, Sebastian will say, "I need to get over there." I didn't know that until much later, just because this is the way we did it. So. Now that's Stefano's signature. That creepy classical music and the change in the color palette, making it more blue. We don't seem to be completely inside of one of those time warp prisms, in the sense that we're not moving slowly and things aren't time looped. Seems to be some sort of tear between when Stefano's around. It seems like his mind is sort of open and you're drawn into it. Because here we are running down the hallways of the art gallery again. This has got to be Stefano's subconscious. We're inside of his own subconscious. Now, if I could get a light on that, I don't know that I do. You could see the name of the person that's dead there. Those bronze plaques seem to be ubiquitous with every time. It's like the bronze plaque next to a painting on a museum wall that's telling you what the artwork was called, or at least. In that case, it's the name. It's always the name of the person that's dying. I'm not sure if they die over and over and over again, or if it's just they're dead and it just is looping the visual of it. I mean, do you think they're stuck there dying? Let me know in the comments what you think. Like, are they literally just trapped there dying over and over and over again? Now, I'm thinking before we leave this area, if there were a lot of resources in the last place. If you remember in earlier episodes, we wandered around the outside of the building and we saw that there was a catwalk that goes between the top of this warehouse area. And we had traced it around looking up here and inside. So we know that there's a door that leads outside up here on the second floor. There it is. But it's locked. We can't go out there that way. I thought, well, maybe if we could go out up here, that might give us some advantage over what might be out there waiting for us. So don't know what's out there, but always got to be a little bit hesitant when they give you a lot of ammunition. Now, there were originally, remember, a lot of zombies out there, and so maybe I was thinking, well, maybe they gave you the ammunition because they're expecting you to have to fight your way out. In other words, maybe all the zombies in the yard, if you had actually made it in here, would be standing right outside the door waiting for you to come out. We, of course, killed all the zombies out there, so if that was the case, then I'm thinking, well, we'd be safe. We just picked up a lot of ammo for nothing. Hard to be sure, so let's go find out. It's the only place to go. Now, our episode's going to end as we step out the door and we find out what's waiting for us. I hope you've enjoyed it. The end of this video is going to be a nice cliffhanger for you to wonder how we're going to survive the surprise. Sebastian sums up the state of affairs very eloquently as we go into our outro. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
Hey! You! The girl! Where is she?